Welcome to the video, everybody. That's me, also known as that Jiu Jitsu guy from YouTube that you like. The other day, I posted a short about a guy getting kicked out of his Jiu Jitsu school for being late, and that seems like a pretty bad sign to me that you're not training at a good Jiu Jitsu school. Side note, if you're not subscribed to this channel already, then you're probably missing like 5 or 6 videos a week, since I'm constantly posting shorts that you probably are missing if you're not subscribed to the channel. So why not take a second right now and smash that subscribe button. But anyway, a gym kicking people out for being late is a bad sign, and there are a lot of bad signs that you're at a bad school. But what are some good signs that you're at a good jiu-jitsu school? Fortunately for you, I'm here with a list of 10 signs that you're at a good jiu-jitsu school. And I'm going to give you a bonus 11th sign. If you show up to a school and everyone is wearing epic roll gear, then you know that is the school for you. And I'm not just saying that because if you come to the school where I train, you'll see tons of epic roll stuff and I want everyone to come roll with me. I'm saying that because epic roll stuff is extremely high quality and it is designed specifically for jiu-jitsu by grapplers, and they have everything you could possibly need, including gis, shorts, rash guards, t-shirts, hats, joggers, hoodies, and more. Don't waste more money on stuff that wasn't designed specifically for our sport. You can take 15% off your order site-wide at epicrollbjj.com with the coupon code podcast15 at checkout. epicrollbjj.com, coupon code podcast15. Now let's get into the rest of the list. I have a question for you. When was the last time you rolled with your instructor? If the answer is I roll with them every single time I train, then congratulations, you are at a good jiu-jitsu school. There will definitely be times when your instructor doesn't roll during class, especially if they're helping other students during sparring or they're doing other administrative things. But so long as they aren't avoiding rolling with students altogether, then you're probably in a good place. I'm lucky I get to roll with my instructor literally every single time I train, and I know that's not super common, but if you've had rounds with your instructor within the last, 4 to 5 times you've trained, then that's a good sign. Here is a conversation I just had with my instructor. I am moving soon and there's a school not far from my new house. I might try to do some drop-ins there in the mornings before work. That would be awesome. You'll get some extra rounds and hopefully learn some new stuff, and you can bring it back here and we can all learn it too. That's how it should be. If your school not only allows but encourages cross-training at other schools, then that is a good sign. If your instructor isn't worried that they're going to lose you as a student if you do a drop-in somewhere else, then they know they're teaching good stuff and that their school is of high quality. And if your instructor doesn't have a bunch of beef with other schools to the point where you can't go visit other schools and do drop-ins, that's a good sign for a couple reasons too. I mean, you don't really want your instructor to be hated by other members of the community. Cross-training should be allowed. Also, in terms of cross-training, if other high-ranking students from other schools are consistently dropping into your school, that is a great sign. That means that experienced students see the value in what your school offers and are going out of their way to seek that out. I mean, it's one thing for homegrown students to like an instructor because they've never experienced any other instruction in the world. It is quite another thing for students from other schools to regularly visit to learn from that instructor. If there are regular drop-ins at your school, and I don't mean like you live in a tourist area and a bunch of people stop by one time because they're on vacation and want to train and yours is the only school around. I mean people who live near enough to you that they visit your school 2, 3, 4 times a year. That should tell you something. And on the flip side to that, if your instructor visits other schools themselves, then that's awesome too. There's lots of talk about students not being allowed to cross-train, and that makes no sense and is a bad sign. But if your instructor is visiting other schools to train and advance their own learning, that is a huge indicator that you are at a good school with a good instructor. Just like that conversation I told you about a minute ago about my instructor and I talking about me cross-training, the goal is always to bring in new knowledge and new technique. I've been at schools where the instructor doesn't seek out new information like that at all, and I've been at schools where the instructor constantly is cross-training and constantly seeking out new information. The latter is better and a good sign your school is quality. More on the business side of things, if your school didn't make you sign a contract when you signed up, that's a good sign. I understand jiu-jitsu schools are businesses and their owners need to make money, but when my hockey team signs up for a season at the hockey rink, they don't make us sign a 3-year contract to do that. I find it weird in jiu-jitsu that you would have to sign up for that long of a term. I know a lot of schools do run on the contract model, but if your school believes in what they are teaching and they don't feel the need to lock you in for years at a time under a contract, that's probably a good sign. Jiu-Jitsu people are notorious for having bad wrestling and judo. I mean, not me, obviously, I'm the best at everything. But there is a simple reason for this. No one trains stand-up. Rounds that start on the knees suck. Competition matches do not start on the knees. If your jiu-jitsu school has at least some rounds starting on the feet, then you're at a good school, and for a couple of reasons. Number one, you're going to learn stand-up, and that's a part of the game that is very important to understand, especially if you're going to compete. Number two, if you're learning standing techniques, it means there are probably at least some competitors at your school, which means there will be good instruction happening and hard training rounds. Number three, rounds that start on the feet are harder than rounds that start on the knees. And since we're all out to get better, the harder the round, the better you will get. That's just science. Again, this is not an all or nothing scenario. Not every round needs to start on the feet, but if you see that at least some are, then that's a good thing. I know Tucker Carlson doesn't think so, but diversity is a good thing, especially at a jiu-jitsu school. Are there a variety of ages, genders, races, belt levels on the mat? That's a good thing. If you go to a school and you only see one very specific type of person, then maybe that means that school isn't super welcoming. If you see a 60-year-old blue belt rolling with a 22-year-old brown belt and they're on the mat together, that's A, very cool, and B, a good sign that the school is welcoming to everyone. The more people who do jiu-jitsu, the better. About a year ago, I had surgery. When I started drilling again, people seemed even more worried about me than I was and looked out for me and wanted to help me. If your teammates actually care about your well-being and they can recognize the difference between training rounds and the finals at the World Championships, then you're in a good place. You're going to, hopefully, spend a lot of time on the mat with these people, and it's going to be a place where you want to be with people you actually like. You want them to be both good training partners, but also people you actually like to be around and don't mind hanging out with. If you see students actually helping each other and they seem like they really want to be together hanging out, then you're in a good spot. Similarly, how higher belts treat lower belts can be a good or bad sign. Do higher belts roll with the lower belts? Do they offer help and instruction? Do they actually know the names of the lower belts? There are some pretty shitty people who don't want to be friendly with lower belts, assuming a high turnover rate. I mean, I'm not going to get to know their name if they're just going to quit at blue belt. That's a bad sign. But if higher belts are welcoming and rolling with and helping the lower belts, then that's a good place to train. And if you're a higher belt watching this, don't be a dick to the lower belts. Speaking of lower belts, if you see white belts playing open guard, then that is a good sign. As a white belt, you should be learning the basics and fundamental techniques, but I think at this point in the evolution of jiu-jitsu, some level of understanding of open guard is fundamental. You can't just understand close guard, half guard, side control, mount, and back control to have a full picture of what jiu-jitsu actually is. If you see white belts playing open guard, then it means a few things. It means that they are probably good white belts, and good white belts come from good instruction, but it also means you're at a modern school that understands and values the evolutions in jiu-jitsu. That school gets bonus points if they teach heel hooks to white belts. When you walk into your school, if there is not a cage, that is a good sign. And I know I will get hate for this, but you will get better jiu-jitsu instruction at a school that is a jiu-jitsu school only versus a school that is an MMA school with a jiu-jitsu program. A cage is pretty cool. Jiu-jitsu in a cage is pretty cool. But if your school only has jiu-jitsu classes and not MMA or Muay Thai or boxing and God forbid karate, that's a good school. You can feel free to yell at me in the comments about it, but I'll stick by my guns. No cage, good school. So there you have it, 10 signs that you are at a good jiu-jitsu school. Just having one of those things on the list doesn't mean the school is automatically great and there aren't other problems with it, but these are just 10 good signs you might be in the right place. What are some other good signs that I missed? Let me know down in the comments. If you watched this far all the way to the end, that means that you either liked this video, in which case you should definitely subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and if you didn't like the video, you should subscribe too, that way you don't miss anything else I put out and you could be mean to me in the comments there too. I appreciate you all watching, and I will see you in the next one.